It's Cam Captcha here. Today I wanted to show you guys some search tricks. There are 28 tricks in total, so let's just get started. Let's say we want to search for a specific species of Pokemon. Let's say we're looking for our Charmanders. So even though three of these guys aren't even named completely Charmander, it lists the species Pokemon. So if you just quickly want to see all your Pokemon that are of one specific species, maybe you're looking for something or just want to compare them, you can go ahead and do it that way. Moving on to our second tip here. If you want to type in a Pokemon's nickname, it'll return all of the Pokemon with that nickname. And if you recall from an earlier video, we named all the shinies with the $sign. So this returns all that list. That's how I was able to do that video pretty easily. And it made me decide, well, I'll just go ahead and show everyone all the tricks, and maybe it'll make things a little bit easier for you. Another easy one is you want to look for your Alolan Pokemon. All you just have to do is type in Alola, and there you go. There's all my Alolan Pokemon. No big deal. And I've got a terrible lot of hat Pokemon, or I guess as they're referred to as costume Pokemon. But if you type in costume, you see here all of my Pikachus in the hats. Basically what I have, except for a couple of guys with their flowers on their head. Pretty cool. Definitely need to get more. Gonna have to get out there and get training. Let's see here. If you were to be looking out there for any Pokemon you have in a gym, you want to look for Defender. You see here I have one Pokemon in a gym right now, and if you wanted to just go look at them, maybe give them berries, or just do gym maintenance for coin acquisition, Defender as a search is a really good option. Okay, moving on to the next one. If you want to look for all your baby Pokemon, it's kind of a funny search. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have thought of it myself. I definitely had to get some help looking this up. But Eggs Only gives you all your baby Pokemon, which is pretty useful, especially if you're someone like me who likes to trade your baby Pokemon to get extra candy for them, or possibly improve their stats and their IVs. So it's a pretty fun little search there, and being called Eggs Only is pretty silly too. And let's say that you want to look for Pokemon to evolve for XP, or you've got field research for an evolution perhaps. A really good search term would be evolve. You type that in, and you can find basically all your Pokemon that you can evolve. Pretty cool. Moving on to number 8. You can look at all of the Pokemon you've ever hatched if you type in hatched. And I have a lot of Pokemon that come in from friends overseas, and I like to trade those Pokemon for even more extra candy. So it gives you +2 for a certain amount of distance away, and +3, and then I think +4 is the max. I usually have +3s, but that's super useful if you want to push up some candy real quick. And if you need to find them, you just search hatched. Pretty easy. It's a little bit different than the Eggs Only, which just gives you baby Pokemon. As you can see here, there are more than just baby Pokemon. Oops, a little bit of a hiccup there, but yeah, there's a little bit of a difference between Eggs Only and hatched. It really depends on what you're looking for, and it's really good. The specificities that you can get from these searches are fairly useful. Like, for example, if you want to evolve a Pokemon, but you want to do it with an item, say you're trying to do that Aerodactyl evolution, potentiality, getting it from that special research, you can press item. So now you can see all the Pokemon I can evolve with an item. Pretty cool. Especially useful, like I said, if you're doing that field research, where you're looking to evolve a Pokemon with an item. And these next ones I'll just go through really quickly, 10 through 14. It's pretty self-explanatory. You're looking for a legendary. You just type in legendary, you get a list of your legendaries, no big deal. The same goes true with your luckies. I only have a few, but there's my list of luckies. The same is true with mythical. These are pretty easy to remember because you just type in what you're looking for. And this one I use quite a bit. Shiny. You want to look through all your shinies real quick. That's a really good way to do it. So I guess I didn't really need to name them all with a dollar sign. And now I know that. You learn something new every day. And this is the last one of these that's pretty easy. You just type in traded. All the Pokemon you've ever traded for. There you go. Bing, bang, bong. Done. Okay. Now something more useful, moving on to 15. I think a lot of times when I'm looking for a gym Pokemon, and I'm looking at type, and I'm looking at the kind of attack, I'm not sure exactly what I want to look for. But let's say, for example, I'm looking for fairy Pokemon. I just type in fairy, and then I get the specific type of Pokemon that I'm looking for. You can also search for a Pokemon specifically by their CP, which is pretty cool. There's a gentleman that lives in my valley that likes CP 10 Pokemon, and I was hoping maybe I could trade him some of these guys. Maybe he'd be interested. So if I ever need to look that up, I just put in CP 10, and there you go. Then I could potentially trade with them. And if you're looking for a Pokemon based on HP, it's the same deal. You just type in HP instead of CP, and then there you go. You find all your Pokemon with that HP. And let's say you're not like me, and you can list more than the first 150 or 300 or so Pokemon, probably with only a little bit of accuracy with their numbers. You probably couldn't do this move. You'd have to look it up. But if you're cool and you've got all the numbers memorized, for example, the Pokedex entry for Pokemon number 33 was Nidorano. What was it? Nidorano. But then you go to 333 and it's Swablu. So if you know the Pokemon Pokedex entry, you can find a Pokemon pretty instantaneously. You don't even need to type in its name. Probably be a little bit quicker if you had that knowledge just at hand. You're probably a better trainer than me, which I have no problem admitting. You are where you are, and you got to push up. You got to get better. Moving on to the next tip, we have number 19, which is about whether or not you're doing something like 1, 2, or 3 manning a raid, and it might be important to know what Pokemon has a weather boosted moveset. You want to look at the @ symbol and then weather. These are the Pokemon right now that have a bonus in their movesets based on weather. And again, that can be pretty important if timing is really important, and it's really important that you get all the Pokemon dead that you need to get dead for that raid. Because it can be really hard. You can have 5 seconds left and be a real heartbreaker when you have just a little bit of health left on that raid boss. And similarly, if you're looking for a specific move against a raid boss, or maybe you're doing PvP, you can look for that move. For example, I'm going to look up Solar Beam. I wonder if that's one word or two. I was definitely looking it up when I had the solar on there. Maybe I may have put a space and then try beam. So I guess it matters. Space matters. You can't just type in Solar Beam. You have to put a space in there. But these are my Pokemon with Solar Beam, so if I needed that for whatever reason, boom, there they are. I put them on my raid team. I make a party for that, and I'm ready to go. And similarly, if you want to look for not just the Pokemon type, but if you want to look at the Pokemon that has moves of a specific type, you want to type in something like, for example, we typed in Fairy earlier, but those fairies might not have a Fairy moveset. See, we didn't have some of these Pokemon listed on there before, but now we do. These guys have a Fairy moveset, and if I needed a Fairy moveset against a raid or PvP, there you are. And you want to further narrow that down. You get a pretty cool trick here where you can look at your fast move. So you want to look at Pokemon that only have fast moves, let's say, that are psychic. You could just type that in. I guess I don't have any Pokemon with fast moves that are psychics. I think I have normal. Let's try normal. Yeah, plenty of Pokemon with fast moves that are normal. If I need to do that for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure I have charge moves for fire. So if you type in 2 instead of 1, you don't get the fast moves, you get your first charge move. So these are all my Pokemon that have charge moves. The first one, that is fire. And I think I only have one Pokemon that has a second charge move. I'm pretty sure I know which one it is. So let's go ahead and type in 3 for the second charge move, and then flying. And that's this guy here. He's got Aerial Ace is his second. No big deal. So if you've got a second guy charge move that you want to look up, that's just the way you do it. It's at 1, 2, 3, depending on the moves you're looking for. Fairly simple, and I'm sure you'd figure it out after some time. So if you want to see all the Pokemon of a specific evolution tree, you type in a plus sign in front of the Pokemon species. So earlier we had done Charmander, so let's put a plus sign, and then let's type in Charmander. So instead of just the one specific species, you get his entire evolutionary tree. I don't know what you might necessarily want to do with that. Maybe you're just trying to clean your Pokedex up, or maybe you just want to show people what you do have in that arena. But it's not very difficult to remember. So moving on to our 25th little search trick here. You can type an exclamation point as an exclusionary modifier. So for example, if you want to show which Pokemon currently can't evolve, so the opposite of that evolve search before, you type in exclamation point evolve. So that means these Pokemon can't evolve. So that Feebas, I haven't walked at 20, so it can't evolve. This Ho-Oh can't evolve because it's legendary. Snorlax doesn't have another evolution. All these guys don't have more evolutions, so that can be useful. Potentially, it may be useful for checking the status of a Pokemon or whatnot, and that's just for evolve. If you want to do it for other Pokemon as well, you're trying to be exclusionary at that, that's something you can do. And if you want to, let's see here, for the 26th search, if you want to have a mixed list to further separate options, you can use a comma. Well, let's just list them all here. You can use a comma, a semicolon, or a colon. Let's have an example of that. So let's say we want to look at all of our legendaries. And we want to look at our mythicals at the same time. So there we go. We have a list that includes the legendary and the mythical. So the exclamation point is exclusionary, but the comma, the semicolon, and the colon, those are inclusionary, and they create a larger sublist. Let's see, moving on here to our second to last, number 27. Let's see, if you want to combine searches and search for a Pokemon that specifically has a certain moveset, you want to use an ampersand or a vertical bar. So let's have an example here where we're looking at a Salamence that has Dragon Tail. So we would type in Salamence, and then we would use the and symbol or the vertical bar, either one. I'm going to just use the and symbol here. And symbol, then at Dragon Tail. And it probably works like with Solar Beam, and we're probably going to have to separate the search function for Dragon and Tail here. So I'm just going to, oops, that's Trail, not Tail. Dragon Tail. Let's do that search. Alright, let's try just typing Dragon. Maybe that'll get us something. Huh. That's funny. Am I typing anything bad here? Let's see, do I have Salamence typed correctly? This is spelled with an S, perhaps. Oh, it's a Mence, not Mance. Okay, well, that'll affect that. See, it's definitely good to be good at spelling Pokemon on top of knowing everything else. So these little things, especially these newer generation Pokemon, that I'm just not 100% on. You just got to give yourself a little bit of time to acclimate, obviously. But these kinds of things, and don't type in trail again as you get distracted. But there's your Dragon Tail, guys. No big deal at all. Okay, so that's again, if you want to look for a specific Pokemon and their move. You just type in their name, an ampersand or a vertical bar, at, and that move. No big deal. So the 28th one, we'll go ahead and close this video up with that one. This is for if you want to look for a certain range of Pokemon, you would use a hyphen. So let's say you want to look for Pokemon between a certain combat power. So you just type in CP, for example, let's do the range of 2000, and then a hyphen to be inclusive towards the 2000 CP to 2500. Let's see what list returns with that. So that's not so bad. You know, if you just wanted to do something like this for PvP, for example, and you just want to stick within a certain CP, you could look for all your Pokemon within that range. And it's a pretty easy little thing there, you know, just to stick in. But I hope that this was useful, guys. If you have any questions, or maybe you guys know a couple of other tricks that I didn't mention in this video, please put them in the comment section below. I know, obviously, I can get better at being a trainer, and I do that through community engagement and interaction. And I know everybody out there knows something I don't, and hopefully we all can shine a little bit of light on each other and make the community a little bit more knowledgeable as a whole. But anyways, thanks again, guys. You guys go out there and be your very best, and I'll see you next time.